outstanding job. He's on the 2025 Pro Bowl ballot, by the way, but he, in large part, was to give the credit to for him being able to bottle up Kevontae Turpin on punts. The Cowboys had 0 punt returns, opportunities, or yards, and I think a lot of that has to do with Kelee Ringo being able to win his matchup, get down the field, and bear down and put some pressure on the returner. So he deserves a lot of credit. I know you have to win outside the margins, and he allows you to do that.
See, that I love talking a little bit of special teams and Kelee Ringo and everything. That's a deep cut of Philadelphia Eagles knowledge that you only get from Andrew DeCecco. And these are the guys that you need to acknowledge when you get to this point in the season. Because, one, we're not having major conversations about the Eagles roster. Listen, if the Eagles had major deficiencies, Kelee Ringo's name would not be brought up. We'd be talking about what Jalen Hurts needs to do, what Saquon Barkley needs to do, what Nick Sirianni needs to coach, what the defensive side of the ball, guys like Jalen Carter and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Darius Slay need to do if this team's going to win in the postseason. We know those guys are all talented, so it frees us up to talk about the players that exist in the margins that are the difference between a good team and a great team. That's a great pick there. And speaking of gunners, B-Gun, what do you have?
Yeah, it's a guy that I asked actually Andrew DeCecco about on the post-game show the other day, but Quinyon Mitchell bounced back from a tougher game against the Commanders, and I think the Cowboys saw something on film because they targeted him more than any other team has all season long. Quinyon Mitchell went out there and battled. I know he let up that touchdown. That was a great pass, though. Great play, great route on that one. So that was just a tough play. Can't blame Quinyon Mitchell, but he bounced back from a game where the Cowboys saw something on film. They went out there and tried to target him, and he didn't let up anything major. Like, he went out there and battled after a tougher game against the Commanders. So I have nothing to say bad about Quinyon Mitchell at all. I just appreciate what he went out there and did after a bounce-back game. Hopefully, there's nothing else to show on tape where other teams are going to target him going forward.
I'll tell you this right now. I kind of want other teams to target him. I would love to see people throw the ball Quinyon Mitchell's way.
Because he's going to pick them off.
He's going to lock down whoever he faces. No, I don't think he's going to. I'm not convinced he will ever have an interception. He has had too many close calls this year to not have one. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson always being in the same spot as him is also not ideal for his personal accolades when it comes to turnovers. And that's not a big deal. I'm saying most of that tongue-in-cheek. But legitimately, if your plan going up against the Philadelphia Eagles is to target Quinyon Mitchell, you're losing that football game. That is a stupid plan. And if the Cowboys saw something on tape that tricks teams into doing that because he didn't have his best game against the Washington Commanders in Week 16, I hope that persists. I hope people keep throwing his way. That is who I want to see the ball go towards on the Philadelphia Eagles defense if it's in the air. That
was a good pick by you, B-Gun. I think we all had some really good selections. I was close to going with Oren Burks because I thought Oren Burks did some really good things in that game. After it looked like early in that game, the Cowboys were targeting him in the running game. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. rotated in for a couple of series, and then Oren Burks comes back in.
Forces
a fumble on Jake Ferguson, and Jordan Davis pounces on it.
It's just incredible how this team, and thank you to the consultants in medical oncology and hematology, CMOH. Go ahead and check them out if you need a first opinion, second opinion, any opinion on a cancer diagnosis. They're the people to call, the great folks over there that helped out our very own John Kincade. That's the beautiful thing about this Philadelphia Eagles team is they have guys stepping up, whether it's necessity or whether it's, hey, we're choosing to go away from the starters because we're beating the brakes off the Dallas Cowboys. When lower level players, like I use lower level in just comparison to the starters, but when second string or third string players have been pushed into the spotlight this year.
Reserves
is a great way to put it. Every single one of them has been, honestly, serviceable at least. Like, I can't think of a single guy that was put into a position this year where I was like, well, he really, really cost the Eagles. There was no upside to that. They have gotten so much contribution.
Fred Johnson, Grant Calcaterra,
Tyler Steen,
Isaiah Rodgers.
Yes, Tristan
McCollum, yeah.
Like, guys like that. Even Oren Burks and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. stepping in for Nakobe Dean going down. And the Eagles have been remarkably healthy this year compared to what a regular NFL season is. The guys that have missed time, well, they've missed time for short periods of time and have come back. It's just been such an impressive job, top to bottom, by this Philadelphia Eagles roster. And that points to one thing. Well, it points to two things. It points to the individual players who are doing that and their focus and their willingness to work, even though they're not in the biggest role on the team. But it points to the fact that the coaching is just so much improved compared to last year. Last year, the starters couldn't figure stuff out. Now, you could bring in the final man on the roster and say, hey, you're starting today. and they would be where they're supposed to be, and they would make a play that makes you say, hey, I wasn't expecting that from him, but we got it. And that is Vic Fangio having his guy prepared. That is Kellen Moore having his guys prepared. That's Nick Sirianni building the culture to allow those guys to feel comfortable, to work into their roles. It's just, I know that it sounds like I'm just gassing up the Eagles like crazy today, but there's no reason not to. You should be this confident in this team. There are only good things to say about the Philadelphia Eagles right now, and they've done that themselves. And to be here after where we were a year ago, as we were flipping the calendar from 2023 into 2024, the question with the Philadelphia Eagles is this organization imploding? Are they completely broken? What do you do if this collapse continues? Like, how do you ever bounce back from this in the offseason? Is there anyone on the roster you don't have questions about? That's completely flipped this year. And it's because of Howie Roseman and the coaching staff, and then those players executing on the plans that the people up top have put into place. It is a masterclass in organization and football team building that the Philadelphia Eagles have put together this year. And now is where we really find out if it's going to pay off as they get ready to head towards the postseason. And the games